The bridge was silent except for the rhythmic hum of the ship's engines, a low pulse vibrating through the steel frame of the Elysium as it cut through the depths of uncharted space. Captain Mira Sato's fingers hovered over the console, a slight tremor in her hand as she adjusted the course for the upcoming jump. Her mind, however, was far from the star maps in front of her. 1,000 thoughts swirled in her head, all of them anchored by a single, undeniable truth: humanity was on the brink. The Elysium, a ship that had once been a symbol of hope, now felt more like a coffin adrift in the dark. "Captain, we're approaching the coordinates." The voice of her calm officer, Lieutenant Elena Rowe, broke the silence. There was a sharp edge to it, the weight of their mission pressing down on her as it did on everyone aboard. "The gate should be up ahead." Mira nodded but didn't answer immediately. The gate. A relic from a forgotten era, a supposed key to humanity's survival. No one knew for sure if it would work, but it was all they had. "Understood, Lieutenant Rowe. Prepare for the jump. We'll have to make it quick." Mira's voice was steady, betraying nothing of the storm within her. She shifted her focus to the flickering screen in front of her, watching the stars streak by, a distant reminder of how far they had come, and how far they still had to go. The ship lurched, and the stars vanished in a blur. The jump was seamless, almost too seamless, and Mira allowed herself a single, breathless moment to hope. It was all they had. The tension didn't dissipate. It only thickened. "Captain," Lieutenant Rose said again, this time with urgency. "We've come out of the jump, but there's no sign of the gate." Mira's stomach clenched. "What do you mean, no sign?" "Run a scan. Full sweep." Rose's hands flew over her console. "Running it now, Captain. No anomaly. Nothing. The gate should be here." The silence hung heavy. Mira's heart pounded in her chest as a sickening thought struck her. "Did we make the jump wrong?" "No, Captain. The calculations were correct. We're in the right sector. But there's nothing here." Rose's voice was tinged with disbelief. "It's like it vanished." Mira clenched her jaw. She had no answers, no comforting reassurances to offer. For all her tactical brilliance, her expertise, her leadership, nothing could explain this. The gate was supposed to be their salvation. "Send out a distress signal to the fleet. Let them know we found nothing." Her voice was cold now, detached, as if speaking with enough force would force the universe to bend to her will. But nothing obeyed. "Sending now." Mira didn't sit. She couldn't. She was rooted to her place, every decision crashing down on her. The fleet, humanity's last line of defense, had been depending on this. The gate was supposed to unlock a passage, a doorway to a new home, a new beginning. Instead, all they had found was the dark, cold void. A soft chime sounded from the calm console. Mira's eyes snapped to it. "Message coming through, Captain," Lieutenant Rose said, voice strained. "It's from the Alliance. They're demanding an update." Mira's pulse quickened. The Alliance, the fragile coalition of humanity's last strongholds, was growing impatient. They were already at their breaking point. Every day spent in the dark, with nothing to show for it, chipped away at their resolve. "Patch it through," Mira ordered, her voice as calm as she could manage. The image flickered to life on the screen, a stern face, grizzled and weathered, filled with the weight of too many years spent in command. General Erwin Harrow, leader of the Alliance fleet. "Captain Sato," he said, his voice a low growl. "You were supposed to find the gate. What's your status?" Mira fought the urge to look away. "We arrived at the coordinates, General. We've done a full scan. The gate isn't here." There was a long, pregnant silence. Then Harrow spoke again, his tone a mix of disbelief and fury. "What do you mean it's not here? You were the one who insisted the gate could save us. What's happening, Captain? You'd better have answers." Mira's jaw clenched, but she didn't flinch. "I'm not sure, General. It was here, coordinates matched, data corroborated, but it's gone. Vanished." Her voice was steel now, sharpened by the weight of their failure. Harrow's eyes narrowed, and Mira could see the fury beginning to bubble beneath the surface. Then find it, Captain. You have 24 hours. After that, we'll make other arrangements. The connection cut abruptly, leaving Mira staring at the empty screen. Captain, what now? Lieutenant Rowe's voice was smaller now, almost hesitant. There was no plan B. No backup. This mission had been their last hope. Mira turned to face the console again, her mind working furiously. She could hear the clock ticking in her head, each second an eternity. The Alliance's ultimatum rang in her ears. They would give them 24 hours. If they failed to find the gate, they would abandon the mission, leave them stranded in the void. And then humanity would die. She swallowed hard. We'll find it, she said, but the words felt hollow. We'll search every inch of this sector. No more errors. We will find the gate. Her voice was a promise, one she wasn't sure she could keep. The weight of it all crashed in on her. If she failed, it would be the end of everything. She glanced at the stars again, a cold, infinite stretch of nothingness that seemed to mock her. Start the search, she ordered. The crew, scattered throughout the ship, would follow their orders without question. They always did. But Mira couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, something far beyond just the gate's disappearance. And she couldn't ignore the chilling thought that, maybe, the gate had never been there at all. The spark of hope they had clung to was already flickering, and the darkness of space was beginning to feel far too close. The Elysium drifted through the void, its engines humming with an unrelenting, mechanical pulse that never seemed to ease. Mira sat alone in the darkened command chair, her eyes locked on the cold, flickering star charts. She was no longer looking for the gate. She had abandoned that hope hours ago. Her mind kept returning to Harrow's words. Find it. He hadn't just ordered her to find the gate, he had threatened to abandon them if they failed. And as the hours passed, each one heavier than the last, the reality of their situation settled in like a weight pressing against her chest. The 24-hour countdown had begun. The Alliance was waiting. You'll find it, Captain, Rowe had said earlier, trying to offer some encouragement. But Mira could see the doubt in her eyes, just like in everyone else's. They had all been so sure, so certain, that the gate would be their salvation. Now, it seemed as if their faith had been shattered in one cruel instant. The ship's comms crackled, breaking the silence. Mira didn't need to look at the screen. She knew who it was. Captain, we've completed the second sweep. Lieutenant Rowe's voice came through, tight and professional, though Mira could hear the exhaustion there. Still no sign of the gate. I've run the scans 3 times. The readings are clear. It's not here. Myra's hand clenched into a fist at her side. She had already been over the data 100 times. She didn't need a second scan to know that they were alone in this stretch of space. The gate was gone, and with it, their only hope. I'll be in the lab, Mira replied, standing abruptly. She needed to think, to do something, anything. If she didn't, the uncertainty would consume her. The sterile, harsh lights of the lab flickered to life as she entered. A few of the scientists were already there, their faces pale, their eyes hollow from the endless hours spent scanning and rescanning the sector. Captain, one of them, Dr. Liana Zhao, greeted her. Her voice was calm, but there was an edge to it, one Mira recognized. Fear. We've finished our analysis. The data you sent us, it doesn't make sense. The gate should have been here, and the energy readings from this sector align with previous findings of its location. But there's nothing. No trace, no anomaly. It's as if it never existed. Mira took a steadying breath. She could feel her pulse quickening, the panic threatening to rise. The same questions circled her mind, but no matter how many times she asked them, there were no answers. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we miscalculated, Mira muttered, but even she didn't believe the words. Dr. Zhao shook her head. That's what I thought at first too, but all our data points to the opposite. It's like someone intentionally removed all traces of the gate. If that's the case, we may be dealing with something far worse than a simple malfunction. The air in the lab felt colder. Myra's throat tightened. What could possibly have the power to erase the gate from existence? And why? I'll run another diagnostic, Dr. Zhao continued, her eyes narrowed in concentration. Maybe we missed something. Maybe there's something deeper at play here. Mira nodded, but it was hollow. The same cold suspicion that had gnawed at her for hours now seemed undeniable. Something was wrong. The gate's disappearance wasn't an accident. It had been taken. And whoever, or whatever, had taken it was far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. Back on the bridge, Mira's mind was still racing. The Alliance would expect results soon. She couldn't keep them waiting, but there was no way to explain what had happened. No way to offer them hope. She had nothing left to give them except empty promises. Captain! Ro's voice came again, sharper this time. You need to see this. Mira stood, her eyes narrowing as she walked toward the communications console. What is it? Ro hesitated for a moment, then switched the screen over. The image that appeared sent a chill down Mira's spine. A signal, a weak, fragmented transmission, was coming through. It wasn't from the Alliance. It was a message. The transmission was static-filled, almost incomprehensible, but there was one thing that stood out, a single, unbroken word. Leave. Mira's heart stuttered. The message was too clear. Someone, or something, was warning them off. The question was, why? Trace the signal. Mira ordered, her voice steady, despite the alarm ringing in her mind. Can you locate it? Ro's fingers flew over the controls. I'm on it. It's faint, Captain, but it's definitely coming from nearby. But the encryption, it's like nothing I've seen before. Whoever is behind this. Mira muttered to herself, her mind spinning. They know we're here. And they don't want us to find the gate. Rose shot her a look of concern but said nothing. There was no point in adding more fear to the growing dread in the air. Minutes stretched into eternity as the crew worked in silence, the quiet hum of the ship punctuated only by the occasional click of the consoles and the hum of the engines. Mira watched the screen intently, waiting for the next piece of the puzzle to fall into place. Got it, Ro finally said. The signal is coming from a nearby asteroid field. It's faint, but it's there. We need to move in closer to get a clearer reading. Mira didn't hesitate. She gave the order immediately. Set course. Full throttle. As the ship turned toward the asteroid field, Mira's mind raced. This wasn't just a warning. This was a message. A message that had been waiting for them. The stakes had just risen, and there was no turning back. Captain! Lieutenant Ro called out again, her voice quieter now. There's something else. The field is heavily irradiated. We're going to have to move fast. If we don't, we'll be sitting ducks. Mira's jaw clenched. Then let's move faster. The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them toward the asteroid field. As they drew closer, Mira couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading straight into the heart of something far darker than they could ever understand. Whoever, or whatever, was behind this wasn't just trying to keep them from the gate. They were trying to bury something. And she had a sinking feeling that they were about to find out exactly what that was. As the Elysium hurtled toward the field, the only certainty Mira had left was that time was running out. The asteroid field loomed ahead, a chaotic mass of rock and debris, drifting silently in the cold vastness of space. Mira stood at the bridge's helm, her eyes fixed on the viewport, scanning the shifting pattern of asteroids. The ship trembled slightly as they pushed deeper into the field, navigating carefully between the jagged rocks, their sharp silhouettes cutting through the stars like the teeth of some ancient beast. Captain, we're getting closer, Lieutenant Rose said, her voice tinged with unease as the comms crackled. The signal's getting stronger. But we're entering an area of high radiation. It's going to distort our instruments if we stay too long. Mira nodded, her expression hardening. She could feel the pressure mounting, not just from the Alliance, but from within. The disappearance of the gate, the cryptic message, and now this. Every step they took felt like they were stumbling blindfolded into an unknown void. Time was running out, and their options were narrowing by the second. Can we get a pinpoint on the signal? Mira asked, her voice calm but tight. I want to know exactly where we're headed. Ro's fingers danced across the console. We're close, Captain. Just a few more minutes. Mira's mind raced. The mysterious signal, its haunting message, leave, rang in her mind like an echo, its meaning lingering in the air like a cold, unspoken threat. Someone had been waiting for them, but for what purpose? And why now? As if in answer to her thoughts, the lights flickered on the bridge. A low hum vibrated through the ship's hull, followed by a strange shift in the atmosphere. Mira felt it before she heard it. Something was wrong. The usual hum of the Elysium's engines, the heartbeat of the ship, seemed to falter, growing erratic. Captain, Rose said sharply, her voice cracking. Something's interfering with the power grid. I can't stabilize the systems. We're losing auxiliary systems. Mira turned sharply. The display screens were flickering, the light dimming, a pulse of instability spreading throughout the ship. Panic rippled beneath her skin, but she forced herself to breathe, to focus. What's causing it? I don't know, Ro replied, her voice barely audible over the growing din. It's not just a technical failure. The radiation, it's far beyond what our systems were designed to handle. Something in this field is manipulating it. It's like it's alive. Alive? Mira echoed, her heart skipping a beat. The very thought chilled her, but she didn't have time to entertain doubts. How long until we're at the source? We're close. A minute, maybe two. The asteroid field surrounded them, closing in on all sides. Mira's grip tightened on the chair, a growing sense of dread sinking deep into her bones. Whatever they were about to encounter, whatever was waiting for them, it wasn't natural. Full speed ahead, she ordered, her voice clipped and commanding. Keep pushing through. We need to find the source of that signal. Ro didn't hesitate, her fingers flying across the controls. The Elysium surged forward, weaving between asteroids, navigating the radiation-fueled turbulence with precision. Mira's mind raced, each passing second drawing them closer to the heart of the mystery. Then, in the blink of an eye, it happened. The ship jolted violently, the view outside the viewport cracking apart like shattered glass. The entire ship groaned, its metal frame protesting under the stress. Mira's body slammed against the console, the force of the impact stunning her for a moment. She fought to regain her bearings, her breath ragged as she wiped blood from her lip. Report! Mira barked, her voice hoarse but firm. Ro, equally shaken, was already scrambling to regain control. Power's down, Captain. We've lost main thrusters. Secondary systems are failing. The lights flickered once more, then plunged the bridge into darkness. We're dead in the water, Ro whispered, fear threading through her words. Mira gritted her teeth, fighting the panic that threatened to rise in her chest. No. We're not. We're close. We've come this far. The comms crackled again, and Mira's heart skipped as a voice, unnervingly familiar, spoke through the static. It wasn't Ro, or any of the crew. This voice was different, cold, calm, distant. You should have listened. The voice intoned, its tone deep, almost otherworldly, echoing through the empty bridge. Leave. It's too late for you now. The words hit Mira like a physical blow, reverberating in her skull. She felt them in her bones, the chilling finality of it. Whoever, or whatever, was out there knew exactly who they were. And it was too late to run. Who are you? Mira demanded, her voice trembling but determined. She was done with silence. What do you want? A pause. Then, the voice returned, slower now, more deliberate. You've come too far. The gate is not for you. You do not belong here. You never did. The message was clear. The gate was never meant to be humanity's salvation. It was a trap. A false hope, designed to lead them here, to this moment, to this place, where their destruction awaited. Mira's mind spun, grappling with the enormity of the truth. This wasn't about survival. It never had been. This was about something far darker, a force that wanted to erase humanity from the universe. To erase them from existence. Captain, we've got visual, Rose said suddenly, her voice taut with both fear and awe. She pulled up a distorted, static-filled image on the screen. At first, all Mira could make out was a black, swirling mass, an immense structure floating in the heart of the asteroid field. It seemed to pulse with an unnatural light, its form shifting, its surface covered in strange, intricate patterns, something that shouldn't exist in the void of space. And then, the realization hit her. It wasn't just a structure. It was a weapon. The ship shook again, harder this time, as if the object itself was reacting to their presence. A burst of energy exploded from it, causing the ship to lurch violently, pushing them closer to the unknown entity. No, Mira whispered, feeling the weight of their inevitable fate settling in her chest. It was not just a weapon. It was their executioner. Get us out of here, she shouted, her voice raw with panic. But it was too late. The fields of radiation intensified. The ship groaned as if it, too, knew that the game was up. They were out of time. Mira's eyes locked onto the looming structure in the distance, the weight of the realization sinking in with finality. The message had been clear. They were never meant to survive this. And the worst part? They had walked straight into the trap. The Elysium trembled violently, its hull creaking under the strain of the unknown force pulling at it from all directions. Mira gripped the command console, her knuckles white. The reality of their situation was no longer a distant threat, it was here, crashing down on them with a brutality that left no room for hope. The strange, massive structure loomed ahead like a monstrous shadow, pulsating with an unnatural glow. It was drawing them closer, as if it knew they were helpless in its grip. The asteroid field around them seemed to shift, swirling like a vortex pulling them toward the heart of a storm. Every instrument on the bridge was going haywire, flickering and beeping in chaos. Captain, Lieutenant Rose's voice was strained. We can't outrun it. The radiation's affecting everything. We won't make it out of here with our systems down. Mira's heart pounded. There was no escape. This wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. It was a fight to understand what had led them here, to the edge of annihilation. What's that structure? She demanded, her voice cold with the weight of the realization. What is it? Ro turned to her, her face pale. It's not just a weapon, Captain. It's alive. The way the energy is flowing through it, it's like it's feeding off us. Mira's blood ran cold. Feeding? What do you mean by that? It's drawing energy from us. Our ship's systems, our power. It's draining us, like a parasite. Whatever it is, it's controlling this entire field. Mira turned her gaze toward the viewport again, her breath catching in her throat. There was no longer any doubt. This wasn't just an enemy, it was a force, ancient and unfathomable, designed to eliminate anything and everything in its path. The voice crackled back to life over the comms, and Mira flinched. I told you. The voice echoed through the ship, the same cold, alien tone from before. You were never meant to find this place. Humanity's time has passed. Mira's jaw tightened. Who are you? What is this? Why are you doing this? The response was chilling in its calmness. You call it the gate. But you should have known. It was never a gateway. It was a test. You were never supposed to pass. A test? Mira's mind raced as the implications hit her like a physical blow. This had all been a trap, a cruel game set in motion long before they arrived. The gate wasn't a door to salvation, it was a death sentence, designed to lure humanity into its grasp. We're not here by chance, are we? Mira said aloud, her voice steady, though fury burned beneath it. This was planned? You wanted us to find this. You wanted us to come here. The voice didn't answer immediately. When it spoke again, it was quieter, almost regretful. Yes. And now it's too late. Mira's fists clenched, rage building inside her. We won't let you win. Humanity's never been the easy prey you think we are. We're not going to be erased. The ship lurched again, a violent shudder that threw Mira off balance. The feedback from the mysterious structure was becoming unbearable, and the Elysium groaned as though it were on the verge of tearing apart. "Get us out of here!" Ro cried, her voice rising in panic. "We need to break free! Now!" Mira didn't answer immediately. The structure outside was now pulsing with an eerie rhythm, its energy growing stronger with every passing second. The ship was at its mercy, helpless in the face of a power they could not comprehend. But Mira had no intention of surrendering. "Activate all remaining power," she ordered, her voice firm despite the chaos around her. "Lock onto that structure. We're going in." Ro hesitated. "Captain, the systems aren't designed for this kind of load." "I said do it," Mira snapped, cutting her off. "We fight or we die. There's no middle ground now." Ro nodded, her face set in grim determination, and she started rerouting the remaining power. The ship's engines roared to life, a desperate surge of energy pushing them forward. The Elysium lurched again, this time toward the heart of the structure. The massive, alien object loomed ever closer, its surface gleaming ominously. Mira's eyes were locked on the structure, her thoughts racing. They had one chance, one final move. Whatever this force was, whatever had brought them here, wouldn't expect them to fight back, to resist with everything they had left. "Prepare to fire," Mira ordered, her voice cold with purpose. "Firing in 3, 2, 1. The ship's weapons came to life in a burst of blinding light. Energy beams shot from the Elysium, slamming into the structure's dark, shifting surface. For a moment, nothing happened. The beams simply dissipated into the ether, as if they had been absorbed by the structure. But then, a crack, like thunder, echoed through the ship as a wave of energy shot outward, knocking the Elysium back. Ro's voice trembled. "Captain, we've lost propulsion. We're dead in the water." Mira didn't flinch. "We're not done yet." She slammed her fist against the console, her mind racing. There had to be another way. They had to find a way to disrupt whatever control the structure had over them. In that moment, it hit her, a memory from the archives, something she had read long ago in a forgotten briefing. "The gate is a test," she whispered to herself. "A test of humanity's resilience." That was it. The structure was using humanity's greatest weakness, its doubts, its fears, as a weapon. But it had underestimated them. Humanity's strength didn't come from brute force alone, it came from its ability to adapt, to overcome impossible odds. It came from its resilience. "Turn everything off," she ordered. Ro blinked in confusion. "Captain, what?" "Turn it all off," Mira repeated, her voice now steady and resolute. "All systems. Everything." With no time to explain, Ro complied, reluctantly cutting the ship's power. The screen went dark. The ship was silent. For a moment, nothing happened. The ship hung in the void, completely still. Then, the structure's pulsing light faltered. Its rhythmic energy wavered. The unnatural force that had been gripping them began to weaken. "Now!" Mira shouted. Ro quickly restored power, and this time, they fired again, not in brute force, but with precision, focusing every remaining ounce of energy on the core of the structure. The alien mass began to crack, its once impenetrable surface splintering. With a final, earth-shattering burst, the structure collapsed into a billion pieces, disintegrating into the void. The wave of energy that had been dragging the Elysium toward its destruction dissipated. For a moment, all was silent. Mira stood still, her breath coming in shallow, ragged gasps. She didn't feel victory. She didn't feel relief. What she felt was the profound weight of everything they had just lost, and everything they had just overcome. "We did it," Lieutenant Ro whispered, disbelief in her voice. Mira's eyes drifted to the view outside the viewport, now empty, no more pulsating structures, no more threats. But it didn't matter. Humanity had survived. And for now, that was enough. The universe had just been reminded that humanity's power wasn't just in its technology or weapons. It was in its will to survive, no matter the cost.